Hey, baddies. I've kind of decided that's going to be my intro for the podcast. Long, drawn out hey, baddies with a giggle at the end. Now, if you can hear that train, I sincerely apologize for how the podcast is going to be today. It's going to be a loud one. I can tell louder. Uh, there's like some dogs that have been barking outside, and some trains going by, which usually the trains don't come until like noon on Fridays, and y'all know I record these in the morning, so it might be a little bit of a louder one. I sincerely apologize for the background noise. I want to see if I can get some of those foam things to put in my room, but also it would be a kind of a more expensive investment just because my room's pretty big. So we'll have to see. But bear with me for now as a plane flies overhead. Just try and pay attention to the sound of my sweet, sweet voice. But I just want to welcome y'all back to the podcast. Hello, baddies. How are you guys been? It's been a week. So happy to have you back here. So happy to have you back listening. If you're sitting down, if you're standing up, if you're listening to this during work, during your break, hello, welcome back. And if you're new here, hi, my name is Julien, and I am the host of the Jool Effect podcast. This is a wonderful safe space where we talk about a whole bunch of pop culture topics like movies, TV shows, music. We talked about some video games. We did a book review. And last week, I did my Ramblecast because I am a young girl with some ADHD and I ramble a lot. And last week, I had some topics that y'all sent in and I talked about them for an hour and some change, actually. But that's actually what I want to segue into right now. Guys, last week's podcast is almost at 100 views. Like, what? What? That's insane. That's crazy. And that's wonderful. I've been noticing the trajectory of the channel has slowly been ticking upward, especially in terms of the podcast. It feels like each one is doing better than the last one. And last week's, I think we're at, excuse me, last time I checked was 92 views, I think, which is like, that's almost 100, like 100 views. Like, I'm so excited. I know we are a relatively very small channel and whatnot. I know that, but just to have a number in the triple digits is just kind of insane in the first place. So I want to say thank you to everybody who's liked that past podcast, commented on the past podcast. If you even shared it with a friend on the past podcast and stuff. I had this person in a Discord server that I'm not that active on, actually, they added me and they were like, "Hey, I listened to your podcast. It was pretty good." And I was like, "Shit, like, damn, it's kind of wild. It's kind of crazy." But that's another thing I want to talk about. So, as you noticed, as you clicked on this video, we've had a slight little rebrand. Also, I don't know if you can hear that. There are some wind noises outside. Wind noises, and my apartment building is pretty old, so it makes the screen doors in between rattle. So if you hear some bumping and stuff, it's just my screen door and my window rattling because the wind is pretty strong today. But back to what I was saying, we've had a slight rebrand. Now, before I figured this channel could just be for my podcast, because at the time I was kind of interested in only doing a podcast and kind of keeping most of my content on Reddit. Because if you're new here, you don't know, I'm primarily a NSFW audio voice actress over on Reddit, and that's how most of my folks that listen to me, most of the baddies, know me from, are my audio dramas and stuff I do over there. But I decided to impulsively make a podcast about a month and some change ago. So now we're here doing that. But then I figured I could start doing more safer work, audio, role plays and stuff on YouTube, just because I know there's a slight little niche for that. And I love little niches. My channel is a little niche, in fact. And so to do that, I did an entire kind of rebrand of the channel name, and the community guidelines. So we are no longer the Jool Effect podcast. We are now JulienBadlandsAudio, JBA. So, hi guys, welcome on in. Welcome to JBA Productions, I suppose. We go by Baddies over here. I have men baddies, women baddies, and be baddies. Welcome. This is the new way the channel is going to be, meaning the podcast is still going to be uploaded every single Friday, but I am going to start having roleplay audios that I've been sprinkling in and out that I work on during the week, going to be uploading them during the week, and it's going to be fun. It's going to be a great time, and I'm really excited to keep getting going on that and to get more started on different projects I have, because I have so many ideas. Most of the things I'm going to do are going to be my own original scripts, but if not, then I'll do a script fill. Obviously, give credit when credit is due. But yes, so this is the new channel rebrand. Actually, yesterday, because you're going to get an upload 2 days in a row, which I'm spoiling y'all. But yesterday, I just uploaded my first roleplay. It was a lesbian roleplay, little ASMR, little cute, flirty classroom moments. It's gotten some good reception so far. I've gotten some comments. The only thing that's killing me is my intro at the beginning is off-centered, and I wanted to cry when I saw it. And also at the end, I didn't cut out the dead space of the black screen, so the video goes on to be about 10.5 minutes when in actuality it's only about just 10. And the last 30 seconds is like black screen. So I don't want to talk about it. I'm already aware and I commented on it. But the main part is that the audio sounds good. My voice sounds good. And people enjoyed the content in the first place. So that's what matters. But today, what are we talking about today? Because I didn't really preview it. I kind of just knew what I was going to talk about. What are we talking about today? Thumbnail says it. The title says it. I'm going to say it. Okay. Let's talk about Euphoria. If you guys do not know or did not listen to the Ramblecast last week, I talked about my interest in Euphoria, how I've been a watcher, a scouter ever since 2018, okay? I know this show, I know the characters, I know the style of it. I'm a big fan of the show, and season 2 just ended this past Sunday. So I've given myself a week to kind of marinate my thoughts, my feelings, and we're going to talk about season 2 today. That is the projection for the podcast. And that's what we're going to talk about. I'm sincerely sorry if you're not a Euphoria fan, or if you didn't watch the show, or you didn't catch... I don't know why my throat is so like gunky today, but I'm really sorry. If you didn't catch the show, if you only watched season 1... If you're not a fan of it, I'm really sorry, but I kind of need to talk about it. I need to just get all my thoughts off my chest, because they're just going to keep bumping around in my little skull, because it's very small brain, like Atari, and I need to get them out. And the best way to get them out is to talk about it on my podcast, because they're going to have people that are listening. Because I had an individual last week on the Ramblecast who said, talk about Euphoria, and I did for like 30 minutes, and I'm really sorry, so... But this is a podcast where I'm going to talk about Euphoria for more than 30 minutes, the entirety of the podcast. We're going to get into it. Are you excited? I'm very excited, personally. I have a lot of thoughts. I was scripting this last night, and I was like, Jesus, this is going to be a lot, y'all. This is going to be a lot. So this is going to be great. This is going to be great. But we're going to get into it right now. How we're going to do this, the structure of how I'm going to do this. It's going to be similar to, if you guys have ever seen, I've talked about her once on this channel before, Amandabb's channel. I can link some of her videos down below. She has this series on her channel called Everything Wrong with Blank, where she takes a movie, a television show, a movie or a television show, and mostly television shows, and she highlights everything wrong, quote unquote. Basically, it's just a TV show analysis. She did it for Euphoria season 1, and I think she's going to do it for Euphoria season 2. She's been live tweeting about it, so I'm assuming she's going to do Euphoria season 2. If she hasn't already, I haven't checked her channel in like a few weeks. But the way she does it is she goes by characters, so she does character analysis, and then she does general themes of the show. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go character by character. I'm going to do my general themes, and my opinions are going to be very clear all throughout. But I'm going to try to give a large encompassing thought at the end, just to really wrap up my thoughts in a nice little bow and as a gift, so I can just give it to y'all and be like, here's what I thought about Euphoria season 2. But yes, that's what we're going to get into today, and we're going to start with some characters. It's going to be great. The first character I have on this list, and these characters are in no particular order. I literally was on the phone last night being like, who is a character in Euphoria? And just randomly typing them down. So some of them may jump in and out of prominence. I may name a lead character, and then the next character may be a minor role. So there's going to be no really order to this. I just kind of name them, and I'm going to talk about them. Though the list does end with Rue, so we'll get to her. But yes, my first character I have on the list is Cal. Okay, well, Cal in season 1 was one story. Okay, Cal in season 2 was another. Cal in season 2 is interesting. He was very interesting because he was the one they attempted to give some sort of sympathetic villain tropes towards. Even though we knew Lexi was a lead in the show, excuse me, Cal was the one who received a traditional backstory. Lexi seemed to get looped in with Cassie. And that was a choice, which we will get into later. But Sam Levinson tried to make him this sympathetic villain because we get an entire backstory on him in episode 4. We get to see Cal in high school during the 80s, him during his heyday. It's very clear that this is an era of his life that he cherishes and wishes he could get back to because it was simple. We get to see Cal as a young, probably gay, probably queer man, in high school, when a time where being gay or being queer, any of that was of the sort, was a different connotation to it. Here's my thoughts though. People began to forgive him. People began to understand. People began to like him. And people began to like him because he's white and relatively attractive. And that's the real story there. I can't understand why Sam Levinson tried to play the white knight when it came to Cal. I can see it for Nate. I can, because Nate is in general a product of his environment to a certain extent, but much more so than Cal. Cal has had decades to make his choices and to be the person that he is, and that's something that he recognizes in the show. He talks about how he's not proud of a lot of the things that he's done and the things that he's been a part of. He's not proud of it. And yet he still continues to do that behavior. For me, and these are just my thoughts on Mr. Cal, he could have done it. By done it, I mean he could have come out. He could have had his first baby with Marsha, who trapped him with that, if y'all didn't catch that. Trapped him with that child. He could have had the baby. And he could have been like, hey, I like men, and I'm not interested in being in a traditional marriage with you. I want to try to explore myself while being a father to my kids. But I want to live me for me. Because he was what, 17? I'm gonna guess senior year of high school. I'm gonna guess 17 or 18 years old, and you knocked up your girlfriend. They always say when you're a parent, that is the time you have to stop being selfish. And when you're 17 years old, when you're 18 years old in high school, that is a time where yourself is one of the most important components. It's integral because you're trying to figure out who you are. And to expect a 17 or 18-year-old to understand the sacrifice of what it's like to be a parent, to be selfless to another entity that you're bringing into the world, there's no way they're going to get the grasp on that. There's no way. And I'm saying Cal could have come out. He could have had his fucking sissy that walk moment. Fucking he could be an ambassador for fucking Glad by this fucking point. For fucking Glisten. He could. He could be up there with fucking Elliot Page and Laverne Cox and other queer icons. He could be up there, but he's not. Because he was scared. And I hate to say it, but that's his own fault. That is. I mean, society obviously plays a hand in it, but he could have stepped up and be the man that he wants to be. But instead, he decided to ruin the lives of his children. To give his kids a childhood full of hatred and structure and everything that he hates to them. Thinking somehow that wasn't going to fuck up his kids. What kills me is his farewell in episode 4. We see him go on this rant. He basically drags his kids and Nate, and he looks at Nate and says, "I have no idea who you are. Sir, that's your fault. That is your fault." And that's the thing about him, is that Cal didn't want to change. Nah, and what happened at the end in season 2, which, major spoiler alert, if you haven't noticed, major spoiler alert. I'm talking about every single aspect of the entire season. Major spoiler alert. What happens at the end? Nate calls the cops on Cal. He calls the police on him, and he gets him arrested for having sex with Jules, who was 17 at the time, and other underage people, because he records his sexual encounters. Excuse me. That's what happens. And I don't like Nate, but he did make a good point, is that you don't think he can change. I don't think Cal wants to change. Because Cal is angry and bitter that he didn't get to live the life that he wanted to live, so he's taking out on other people. He's living the life he wants to live while also living another life. He can't have two. He talked about how he tried to keep it separate. You can't keep it separate. You could have been the person you wanted to be, but you didn't. And that's a choice that you made. And that's his fault. It is. It is. And it sucks and it hurts, obviously. But that is his fault. And that's why I don't like him. I don't like him. There's another character that does the same thing, which we're going to get to. But that's why I don't like him. And that's Cal in this season. He's just doing his shit, being fucking gay, and he fucking blows up in episode 4 and then comes back in the season finale and then gets arrested. And that's the shit. That's really the shit. That's Cal. Okay, let's move on. Kat. I would love to say a lot about her, but she was absent in this season. And I'm going to leave that rant for later when I get into my general themes. But my main qualm with Kat, my main qualm with her character, is she creates a lot of her problems on her own. She's very piss poor at communicating. We saw this in season 1 when she almost didn't date Ethan because she created an entire narrative of him talking to another girl at the carnival during episode 4. They almost didn't get together because of that. She created this entire long drawn out conspiracy theory in her head in a second. And it happened. And you almost didn't get together with a guy that you liked. Now, this season, the same thing happens. She's having sex problems with Ethan, rather. She's having sex problems with him. She's having intimacy problems with him. She has these extreme fantasies about more kinky sex, more aggressive sex, things that in her head, in her mind, she doesn't think Ethan can give her. She for some reason she believes that he cannot fulfill those fantasies in the intensity, in the manner that she wants. But she never asks him, so far as we know. We never got a conversation about them having that conversation, communicating about sex. That's your boyfriend. That's your partner. You should be able to sit down and be like, hey, I like X, Y, and Z when it comes to this. Do you think you'll be able to provide that? If Ethan couldn't provide that or he wasn't interested, that's an entirely different beast. But Kat creates her own problems because she's not even willing to have that conversation in the first place. And that's what happened when they broke up. That scene, she straight up lied about having a brain disorder, terminal. Gaslighting Ethan into breaking up with her so that she didn't have to do it. Like, why would you? Why? We'll get into what that means later. But Kat is largely absent in this season when she was a lead in last season. And we're going to talk about what that means later on, but that was Kat. We're going to move on to Ali next. I don't have that many thoughts on Ali. I can say he's one of my favorite characters in the show, despite being a more minor role. He's one of my favorites. I really like him because he, for one, knows what Rue's going through on that intimate level. By intimate, I mean he knows the harshness of what it's like to be an addict. He is intimately aware of that, closely related to it. And in that case, he doesn't coddle Rue. Granted, I personally, I don't want to talk out of my ass here, I've never really dealt with somebody involved around me who has an addiction. I've never been that closely related, or this person is still in my life. They've since recovered. But I've never dealt with the trials and tribulations of having somebody who's addicted to some sort of substance in my life. But I do know that the way Ali deals with Rue, I know they are trying to make it a more effective manner than what Leslie and Gia do. And I think that's an important part. I think it's episode 6 where he comes over to have that dinner with Leslie and Gia during the season, and he validates Gia because Gia's rightfully angry at Rue. She's pissed off at her sister. She should have every right to be, because she's unable to live her own life because she's so worried that her sister is going to end up dead in a ditch somewhere or OD'd, needle sticking out of her fucking arm. Like, that is her main concern. And I think Ali is a very, very, very important force in allowing Gia to feel what she feels and still want the best for her sister. Because you can be pissed at somebody, but you can also still want the best for them. And I think that's something that Ali put in her head because Leslie neglects Gia because she's so worried about fucking Rue. Unconsciously. Gia said she was failing her classes. You know, she's failing her classes. She's getting pissed off at people. She's in detention. She's self-destructing. She's spiraling because she's worried about Rue. Everything's about Rue. Rue's selfish. We know that. Ali comes in as this force being like, hey, you're doing X, Y, and Z to Leslie and Gia. You need to do X, Y, and Z to take care of yourself. Because you're allowed to be angry at her. And you're allowed to be upset. Because she demands a lot of time. A lot of resources. She stresses you the fuck out. You're scared. And you have every right to be upset at her. But Ali also put that in her head. You can still want the best. You can still want a relationship with her. But you are allowed to feel what you're feeling. Because Leslie wasn't allowing Gia to do that. Leslie was putting her sister down for getting angry at Rue. Because Leslie thinks the softer delivery when it comes to Rue is the better approach. To coddle her. But Rue is manipulative. We've seen this. She gaslights people. Because she's an addict. She's at a complete state. Sometimes of complete irrationality. Fucking drugged out. Breaking down doors and shit. Like it's intense. And Leslie's giving her these very soft-handed balls when she needs something straight down the pipe. She needs something with some heat behind it, some aggression. Something to let Rue know you cannot do this anymore. But Rue's not, she can't handle that. Ali was that. But we're going to see what's going to happen in season 3, which we'll get into. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Ali. He's a very good balancing force. I think so. And I really like his character in general. He also adds a lot of humor to the show, which I think is great. Okay. Next, we're going to go into Ethan. Again, not too much on Ethan I have to talk about. Ethan, I think we saw in episode 7, he definitely has more depth to his character than we initially gave him credit for. Season 1 and most of season 2, he got passed off as this very nice, understanding. He seems to come from a kind of a upstanding, a little bit more of a healthy, quote unquote, healthy family. And it seemed that the writers are making it seem that he's too nice for Kat, or too, I was going to say too nice, or too understanding, or something to that degree. But there's more to him. Homeboy played fucking 6 different roles in Lexi's play during the season. He was Sue's, Cassie, and Lexi's mom, and then he played Nate, and then he played homeboy who was smoking the cigarette. He played the photographer at their school. He was a lot of people in the thing. Talented, a talented character. I hope they keep him around in season 3, at least to expand somewhat on his character, because I mean, even though we didn't get to really hear a lot of his thoughts, or really hear everything we know from Ethan is from Kat, or what we just see. He's not involved in the voiceovers that Rue does to kind of give the lay of the land when it comes to the characters. But he still is an interesting character, despite not that. We never even knew he had an interest in acting until the play happened, and then he played fucking 4 or 5 different characters. That's interesting. And I hope they pull more of that. So that's how I feel about Ethan. I do like Ethan. I did. And this season made me like him more, especially episode 7. It made me like him more. So I do like Ethan, though. Alrighty. Next, I have Nate. Nathaniel. Now, this is a sick man. This is a sick and twisted man. And this is a man who knows, like his father, this is a man, God, I'm gonna, obviously, okay. He's fucked up in season 1, gaslight, manipulated Maddie, Jules, had that whole thing to get back into school. Very, 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 very toxic individual. Season 2, he's fucking with Cassie, okay? He's fucking with Cassie, knowing he can fuck her up. That's the fact of the matter. He knows he has power over this woman. He knows the precarious situation, nefarious, very, very tumultuous relationship between the 3 of them, with Maddie, Cassie, and himself. He's aware of it, and yet he makes Cassie the villain in the situation. He throws that, oh, you're fucking your best friend's ex-boyfriend in your face. You're fucking your ex-girlfriend's best friend. That shit falls back on you. But he manipulates, so he throws it back on Cassie. He throws it back onto her, which makes her spiral. We got into the cycle of her doing anything for his attention, which I can't talk too much about that because we're going to get to Cassie later on. But he is aware of the power he has, and he likes power. Okay? He likes power. But let's talk about 2 things. The first thing I want to talk about is it's either in episode 6 or 7, he has that vision of Cassie rubbing the back of his head. And the camera turns and it turns into Jules. We need to talk about how he is in love with Jules and doesn't want to talk about it. Because it's very clear. It's still very true. That rings true for his character. It's written in his Carfax. It's written in the fucking stars. He loves Jules. And he's pushing that shit Far, far, far down. And people are forgetting that Nate is probably queer to some degree. He likes women, so far as we know. But there were other dicks on his phone when he was pretending to be Tyler in season 1. There were other peni. There were other dinglings on his phone other than when he was talking to Jules, when he was manipulating her. So he a dick in the booty man. He is. Or he wants to put his dick in somebody's booty. But he don't want to talk about it. He doesn't want to talk about it because he comes from that household where Cal quite literally hid decades of infidelity from his son and his wife. One of his sons knew because Nate's fucked up. But Nate's secrecy, it's from Cal. It just gets passed down. And that brings me into my second topic. Cal was Nate's biggest villain. He hates his father. Hates his father. Hates him. For good reason. He ruined his life. Quite literally. But let's talk about the lack of self-reflection that translates from Cal to Nate. Episode 5? Yes, episode 5. After Cal leaves in episode 4. He's having that conversation with his drunk ass mama. His mom talks about how you're an angry person. That's what she says. Nate contests this. He says, I was angry because of Cal. Because of Dad. The scene's obviously there to show him getting angrier and angrier and angrier when Cal's not even there. Because he is in fact an angry person. A lot of that rage was towards Cal. That may be true. But Nate is an angry ass individual in general. That man is mad. But he doesn't want to accept that because I don't know what he would do if he sat there and really thought about the fact, oh my God, I'm mad at the world. I'm mad at my existence. He's trying to overcompensate by fitting all of his rage towards Cal. Cal is the issue, you know, the benefactor, the inception point, of most of his issues. That may be true, but those have fucking layered off like a spider web to other issues that he has that don't involve Cal, that Nate doesn't want to talk about. Because if he doesn't talk about that, it doesn't exist. Those are issues he may not have control over because we know Nate's a control freak and he likes control and he likes having power over people. But if you were to sit there and start doing some self-reflection on the fact that all of his issues don't come from Cal or all of his rage isn't directed towards Cal, ooh, it would be too much for our young boy right there. That might be too much for him right there. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think he's really thought about it. Because he spent so long hating his fucking father that he can't sit there and think about the fact, oh shit, I have a lot of problems myself. Lack of self-reflection from Cal to Nate. Apple doesn't fall far. And that's a shitty, rotten, worm-infested apple. But it doesn't fall far. And that's Nate. That's how I feel about him. I fucking hate him. I do. And we need to stop. We need to stop excusing his behavior because he's hot. Okay? I am a gay woman. I'm a gay woman. But we need to stop forgiving men for shit because they are hot. I already talked about how a lot of you bitches have forgave Cal because he's white and conventionally attractive. And if you aren't aware of that, you need to become aware. Because y'all do the same shit for Nate, despite him being an actual menace to fucking society. But no matter. Those are my thoughts. Those are my philosophies about Mr. Nathaniel Jacobs. Now we're going to move on to Ashtray. Plays funeral fanfare Okie dokie. Big spoiler right now. If you did not watch the season finale of season 2 of Euphoria, I haven't spoiled anything too crazy, but I'm going to say something that is a very big spoiler. So if you're watching and you haven't seen the season finale of season 2, I'm going to give you a couple seconds to click out of this video, to watch it, to come back. Okay. I hope everybody who is either seen this season or doesn't care about spoilers is still watching. Why'd they kill my baby Ashtray? Why? Like, why? Why? Ashtray, relatively during this season, kind of gave this very wokeified fucking 14, 15-year-old, like he's constantly aware of the shit sometimes even Fesco isn't even aware about, very mature beyond his years. So the way they killed him, I know what I think it is, because Fesco is going to get raided because Custer, who's the drug dealer from episode 1, the one who had Faye, Miss Francine from American Dad, is working with the police to get him arrested for Mouse's murder, which is what we find out what happened in episode 1, season 2. Ashtray kills Mouse, and they found the body. And, you know, it doesn't make sense, because his place is going to get raided because they found Mouse's body. His place is getting raided, and instead of, because Ashtray kills Custer because he finds out, he sees through Custer's bullshit. Custer is trying to get Fesco to say some incriminating shit on recording so that the police can come in and just arrest him. But Ashtray sees through it and kills Custer, stabs him in the neck, and then their place gets raided. And instead of just letting Fesco take the fall for the murder, because that's what Fesco was going to do, he said, I did this shit. I killed that motherfucker. Like, Ashtray was like, no. I'm going to get all of our weapons, lock myself in the bathroom, and shoot at police. Sam Levinson, why? Like, it doesn't make as much sense as I would like it to. It doesn't make sense for this very, very rational 14 to 15-year-old to become irrational during this moment. We know he's violent. We know it. He also doesn't really have a line in that last episode. I don't think he speaks like once. I think he says like no, like once. But we don't get to see the logic behind it. Here's what I think it is. I think he couldn't fathom the thought of trying to live without Fesco. You know, that's his brother. He's been there literally all of his life, raised him from a baby and up. Could not fathom the thought of living without him, so he took himself out. But it doesn't sit well with me. If that's what they were going for, it doesn't sit well with me. I don't know if it had to be death. I do know that Fesco was supposed to die and they switched the script, which I'm going to talk about later. But it doesn't hit. And that it left a bad taste in my mouth. You know, I was very upset when they killed Ashtray. But there's not much I can do about it, obviously, because he's fucking dead. So, but yeah, that's Ashtray this season. He's relatively just uneventful, kind of just fucking bitches up, being violent and stuff. So, I don't really fucking know, but we're gonna move on. We're gonna move to Leslie. I touched on her earlier, but hers is gonna be relatively short. She's learning a new way to care for Rue. It's very clear that they have a lot of love for each other, Leslie, especially in this season. But Rue scared the shit out of her. Rue scared the shit out of everybody during episode 5. Scared the shit out of her. Everybody. I mean, it Episode 5 had my ass in a tizzy. Episode 5 had my ass in a tizzy. And Leslie is kind of giving Rue that ultimatum. We see it later on in the season. I think that's episode 6 or 7. She's like, you're turning 18 soon and you're about to be at my fucking house. And I can't keep doing this with you. Which is fair. What's fair? She can't keep unconsciously or consciously enabling Rue's behavior. Because that's what Leslie had been doing. By either coddling her or simply just being unaware of the fact. Rue has a level of security with her mother. A level of power over her mother where she knows she can manipulate. She knows she can lie. And Leslie's like, I can't be responsible for that anymore. I can't be responsible for this behavior that you're exhibiting, that you're doing. I can't do it. And I think that's the crossroads that Rue has to choose. She can choose that way or she can choose this way, because Leslie's not going to be part of it either way. I'm pretty ambivalent about Leslie. Mostly because of the fact she's very neglectful towards Gia, which I know isn't her fault. But still, it happens. And largely just unaware of Rue. Like, if your child is an addict, how are you not very in tune with a lot of her behavior and her physical state of being? Because you can tell when Rue is high. It's very aware. And the fact Leslie is largely just unaware of the fact, like, I don't know, I think you should be paying a little bit closer attention. I think you might trust your child a little bit too much. I don't know. Those are just my thoughts. But let's move on to Fezco. Now, Fezco and Lexi have this very interesting romance this season. They kind of pulled this very opposites tracks thing. They had that talk during, was it the last episode, where they were like, well, we don't really have anything superficial in common, but we have very, very strong character traits that coincide with one another, which I think is cool. I like Fezco a lot. He's a very prime example of a person who's doing bad stuff. He's in a bad situation. He's doing what he can to survive, but he's a person with a very strong set of morals who still cares about other people a lot. And we see that with Ashtray. We see that with Faye, him taking Faye in. You know, I love that scene of him. She comes in and he's like, you want some of my sandwich? Like, I love that scene. He's just a very, very caring individual. Let me tell you something. I love seeing him beat the fuck out of Nate. That right there. Oh, I get a girl good right there. It was really entertaining fucking watching that shit. But Fezco is largely one of my favorite characters in the show. He's a very strong caretaker in the show. What's gonna make me go kind of question mark is, where is his character going to go from here? Because he got arrested at the end of season 2. Ashtray is dead. He's probably not going to be dealing drugs. Probably going to go down for the murder of Custer, which, if he passes it off as manslaughter, he might not go to jail for life. But he's done a bunch of other shit that the police probably has evidence for, so he's probably going to go to jail for a long time. So where is Sam going to go with his character? Season 2 feels like a period, not a comma or a semicolon. It feels like a period with it feels like the end of a paragraph, the end of an essay, really, for him. And I don't know where they will go. I also read some stuff that he was supposed to die at the end of season 2. Like I said, supposed to die at the end of season 2, and then he's supposed to die at the end of season 1. And I saw a tweet, and I didn't save it. Fuck. I saw a tweet that was like, if you're gonna kill him, just kill him. Because it's very obvious sometimes that they don't have the best grasp on where they're gonna go with him. Especially because he's about to go, we're gonna assume he's gonna go to jail. Or people were talking about how they're probably going to make him bleed out at the beginning of season 3 to be like, he didn't die in season 2. Which I don't know. But it's just, if you're going to kill him, then kill him. There's no point in dragging out the inevitable. Obviously he's involved in dangerous things, but the danger around him is too high to my ideology, and it doesn't seem like Sam cares enough about his character to keep him around, or he doesn't add enough to the plot to keep him around. Because I knew watching the season that he wasn't going to kill Rue. Even when things got dire, even when episode 5 happened, even when episode 4 happened, I was like, he's not going to kill Rue. He's not. There's no way. He would kill Fesco, though. I believe that. And I believed it this whole season. I was like, he's going to die. It's too much drama, you know. There's sometimes some characters don't have enough danger, don't have enough. Sometimes characters have too much. I think Fesco has too much. So, that's how I feel. But I like Fesco a lot. He's probably my favorite. He is my favorite guy on the show. My favorite male on the show. And I did like him and Lexi together. But we're going to move on. Jules. Okay. Okay. Jules is interesting case this season. What pisses me off, because I'm very upset right now about her. What pisses me off, we got this gorgeous character arc for Jules season 1. Gorgeous. Was it for the better of her character? No. She left Rue. But we got nothing similar to that in this season. It just felt like scenes put together. Things she did that had no motivation behind them. That's what it felt like this season. There was nothing there, no substance. Very frustrating as a viewer to watch, especially when she's one of my favorite characters. I talked about this in my last podcast. I'm a Jules apologist. Yes, I am. I like Jules a lot. And I think she gets a lot of unwarranted hate. And it's very frustrating to see. But this season, up until episode 3 or 4, was it 3? It was 3. Up until episode 3, first 2 episodes, she didn't do shit. She didn't do shit to deserve the hate she was still getting. When y'all bitches gonna let that shit go from season 1? I'm serious. I'm serious, okay? I'm really serious. Like it's for real. Like y'all need to let that shit go. Y'all need to let that shit go and realize that she left Rue at the station. She apologized. They fixed their shit. They shouldn't be together, but she apologized, and y'all need to stop holding that shit over her fucking head, especially after her special episode came out. If you hate Jules and you haven't seen her special episode, I don't want to talk to you. If you hate Jules and you've seen her special episode and you still hate her, I also don't want to talk to you, because where's the empathy? Where's the sympathy? Jules' mom is Rue in her eyes. She is trying to regain the control and simply the relationship she that died with her mother, she's picking back up with Rue. They're both addicts. Mamas, like, it's very clear the parallels that they draw between Jules' mother and Rue. That's why we figured that out during her special episode, was that her mom was a fucking addict. And her therapist in the episode even draws that connection. So where's the empathy? Rue gets a lot of empathy. She gets a lot. But we need to realize that even though Jules did fuck up, yes, I can admit she did fuck up. Rue has said some heinous ass shit to this woman. They are toxic for each other. And it's clear, and not a lot of people are talking about. A lot of people talk about how toxic Jules is for Rue. Let's talk about how toxic Rue is for Jules. How toxic they are for each other. I just think the dislike in their dynamic in Rules is heavily staggered towards Jules, because she clearly fucked up at the end of season 1. But Rue is not innocent in that at all, not even in the slightest. And just the lack of character arc we get in season 2. I mean, we get nothing from her. Absolutely nothing from her. And she's one of my favorite characters. I really like Jules. And we get not a damn thing from her in season 2. And we're going to get more into that at the end. But let's beat through some more characters real quick. Okie dokie. So, Gia. I already spoke on her. She needs a hug. She needs some validation. She needs Rue to be okay, but she needs to spend time on her own. She needs to, by that I mean figuring out the kind of person that she wants to be. She needs to separate her life as a living entity away from Rue. She needs to figure out who Gia is when my sister is not cracked out, drugged out, and breaking down doors and shit. She needs a hobby. I don't know, fucking painting or something. Something to put her energy into. That's what Gia needs. She needs more support from her mother. She needs more validation from anybody. And she's gonna need a lot. She's gonna need a lot. Because sobriety obviously is not this easy journey. That's what we know from the show. It's not an easy journey. And Gia needs a lot of support. And I hope that's what she gets in season 3. Because they just made my baby. They're just making my baby cry. They're just making her cry and upset this entire season. Like, damn, can the bitch get a break? Like, fuck. But that's how I feel about Gia. I like Gia too. Elliot. I'm going to save him for later. I'll save him for later. Cassie. If you're in Cassie Hive right now, I know y'all upset. I know y'all mad. I know you guys are upset, and you have every right to be. Because how did we go from her at the end of season 1, you know what, I really just want to focus on myself, to season 2? How did we fall so far? Catastrophe. How I feel like every episode it got worse and worse, and it just gets worse and worse. Every episode was worse. I mean, Sydney Sweeney was acting down because I was feeling the secondary embarrassment. It was making my body take multiple screenshots at one time. Like, shit, that shit fucking hurt. But bitch, get up right now. Get the fuck up. Like, god damn, that girl. I fucking swear it. Cassie, baby, for Nathaniel, betraying Maddie for Nathaniel. I mean, I get the direction a little bit, but I mean, just, I'm not even sure where they could go with her, you know? Like, I'm not sure where it goes. Because she's, I think she's too far gone for some sort of redemption arc, or, you know, if we're going to try to redeem her character, it's going to take a lot of work because she is in a very deep hole. I mean, y'all thought McKay fucked her up, but like for Nate, like, ugh, God. I mean, each episode was worse and worse. Like, wow. That's all I have to say, really. I don't even have that much to say about her because she is just like, baby, it's a cry for help. Shaking and fumbling and clapping your fucking feet for a man who got mad at some gay shit at a play because he's gay shit and he don't want to talk about it. Which that seems fucking hilarious. Also, ruining your sister's play. God, like, her selfishness was a big highlight during this season. I appreciate the writing to give her a character arc because some people didn't get one. But I appreciate the writing to give her some sort of arc, even though it's not necessarily a positive one. But her selfishness shines bright because all she's worried about is her feelings. What Nate makes her feel, how she thinks she deserves that happiness. So much of that she would destroy one of the things that she says is the only thing Lexi's ever done. She said, this play is the only thing that you have ever done. I can't help that I do things. I can't help that I fall in love. Me, selfishness. It's about me. It's about her feelings. It's about her. Nate makes her feel good. He fucks her good. She's happy because of him. So much so that she neglects the happiness of Maddie. Neglects the happiness of Lexi, your sister, your best friend, because of it's what makes you feel good. And that takes precedence. Surely does. Just interesting. It's very interesting that they chose to go that direction with her. I would say, writing-wise, she's probably one of the stronger characters this season, even though it is a cry for help each episode. Writing-wise, she has some sort of arc. Character changes in her. Very distinct things about her that weren't there in season 1. Even though we hate to see it each week, she's one of the strongest characters that's written in this show this season. But that's what I have to say about Cassie. Let's move to Maddie, who's my next character. Maddie, arguably the most disappointing this season. Arguably. I would say her and Jules. Matt, arguably the most disappointing. She still can't stand on her own. Like, she stands on her own. She's Maddie Perez, you know? Fucking cunt. Like, she's Maddie Perez. But what pisses me off about her? What pisses me off about her? She wasn't awarded a character arc in season 1. And we barely got one in season 2. Season 1, we learned bad bitch, HBIC, dating Nate. Nate abuses her. She allows the abuse. They break up. You're not good for me. Okay. Season 2. Fuck Nate. I think I want him. That's the whole season. Oh, fuck Cassie. That's the whole season. When are we going to let her stand on her own? When can she exist outside of an orbit of Nate? Because the fact of the matter is this. Maddie is obviously pissed off at Cassie because cheated on Nate. Well, Maddie's pissed off at Cassie because Cassie fucks Nate, who's her ex-boyfriend. But would Maddie be as mad if Nate was not Nate? No, she wouldn't, because he's the kryptonite. He is this malevolent force that she allows back into her life. This poison that she can't help but fucking inject in her damn veins. She cannot help herself. But I'm gonna need Sam to let my baby go from this man. Write some more qualities about her that do not revolve around Nathaniel Jacobs. I'm sick of it. I don't need her to be in constant orbit of this man, even if she's not dating him. That's what pisses me off. Because she wasn't together with him this entire season, and yet everything was about him. Like, I'm sick of it. I want more. I do. I want something that she likes to do. And we need to eradicate this mean girl persona that he's given her. Because Maddie is not mean. Not at all. We've seen a lot of benevolence from her this season. A lot of it. Coming at the hands of Kat, Jules, even in Lexi's play. Maddie's a nice person. She's a benevolent force. She is somebody who babysits. She likes the kid she babysits, Theo. She's not a mean girl. Not at all. She's not heartless. She's not evil. Snip her away from Nate. Get those fucking scissors and cut her away from this man. We've seen a lot of rage pointed at Cassie. Obviously. But I hope once it dies down, we can direct some rage towards Nate. Because Nate, you should know better. As much as Cassie knows better, obviously. But Nathaniel, you should know better too. But it's just disappointing that we didn't get much from her this season. Other than some really good memes. Bitch, you better be joking. Or the one of her, the AirPods. That shit was funny as fuck. But yeah. Very disappointing because Maddie's one of my favorite characters. And the fact we didn't get a lot from her in terms of just more of an arc, you know, even if Cassie had probably the most drastic character changes, Maddie didn't even get remnants of that from that. You know, she didn't, excuse me, the character changes weren't passed downwards from Cassie to Maddie. She's still revolving around Nate. She's still a moon in his orbit. He's a planet, and she's just constantly circling around this man. And I'm sick of it. I really am. I would like it to cease. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Maddie this particular season. And we're going to move into our last character before we get to our general themes, which is Rue. Obviously, I had to end it with Rue. Rue is... I'm constantly worried for her. I'm I'm worried for her because she quite literally has no hope in herself. I feel like that's the main thing they had to put in this season. She has no one rooting for her. She has no one fighting for her. And she doesn't want to fight for herself. She wants to give up because of her father. She brushes over her father a lot when that is a problem, when that is someone she misses with every fiber of her being. He had that conversation with Elliot when she first met him. Okay? She says, my dad dies when I was 14. He says, oh, that wasn't that long ago. She says, it was kind of long ago. I don't really think about it. Liar. Dad died when she was 14. Rue is 17 in this season. You care about him. You care about your dad. You think about him every day. But you're not using it to give you hope. Episode 5 was a lot. A lot. Breaking down doors, running in traffic, saying the most heinous shit to Jules, somebody you thought you loved. Fucking with your sister, with your mother. You have a lot of things to reflect on. But I can say I have some hope for her with episodes 6, 7, and 8. There's a certain essence she has during the play. A look of healthiness in her eyes, how she is. But still maintaining that Rue personality. There is some of her in there. Without the drugs. She exists. She's a person. Without the drugs. And Lexi's play gave her that hope. I saw a lot of interviews with Zendaya talking about, the play, what it made her feel. And largely it was putting her life in scope and making her realize, oh, I've just had it rough. I've had it rough. I've had a rough life. But she can use it to propel her forward. And I think the monologue she has at the end of season 2 is a large example of that. Her using those experiences to push her forward in life, giving her a reason to stand up, to wake up every single day. It's something to look forward to. And I think that's a good character arc for her. Because, up until episode 5, it got worse and worse. You're not sober and you're lying to it about your girlfriend. You're lying to it to your girlfriend. You're lying to it to your mom, to your friends, to everybody. Then it blows up. It blows up. But I think at the end of season 2, they're on the play. Play's over. Jules comes over to say, I love you to Rue. I think the decision to have Rue just give her a hug and a kiss and then leave shows that she's choosing herself. Because that's what she needs to do. That's what she has to do. I think that was the correct choice for her character. Because Rue and Jules don't need to be together. We've seen 2 attempts at it in both seasons of them trying some sort of romance while Rue is still struggling and while Jules has her shit to figure out. And I think her choosing herself is what's important here. I don't really feel any type of way about Rue. I just want her to be okay and be happy. But yes, those are all my characters. We are at an hour and 4 minutes. I'm going to go into an hour and 30. I've decided. But yes, let's get through these general themes. I have a big disclaimer. Quote, I speak as a fan of the show. I speak as a person who scouted it back in 2018, watched in 2019, and frequently has rewatched. Though, my feelings are obviously subjective, and how I feel about this season is well resonated and shared with lots of other people, I can't blindly support things. I even have my qualms with season 1, but I'm 100% more willing to defend the content in that season in comparison to this one. But let's get into general themes about the show. That's my disclaimer, in general. My first theme I have, or plea, Sam Levinson, get some other bitches in that writing room with you. I mean, good Lord, goodness gracious, it was pitiful how you can tell all of these ideas are coming from one brain, one individual, from one fucking man. Like, goddamn, Sam. Like, get some other bitches in there writing with you. You have teams. You have people who are paid to give ideas, and you are hogging that director chair, hogging it. And it was obvious this season, which translates into my second point: plot holes, breadcrumbs. Lori, the suitcase. Hello. Rue owes $10,000. $10,000. And yes, it's a point that could be picked up in season 3, but why do that? Why? It loses its intensity. The problem loses its intensity when you drag it out for what? Season 3 is not going to come out until season 2024, 2025. 3 years. People are going to forget. They're going to forget the fear that they have in Lori, in that suitcase, in that situation. You've forgotten. Why drag it out? You have 8 episodes each season. Introduce a suitcase earlier on. Or don't bring up the point at all. Because I really don't care anymore. Because you know, since she's gonna wait a season, Rue's probably gonna live. It's gonna blow off. The breadcrumb doesn't have the everlasting effect that Sam wants it to have. If that's even a point. This transitions into my my third qualm. Let's talk about how cinematography can't carry a show. This is true. At a certain point, how pretty things are can't distract people from the fact the season is going nowhere. I would say around episode 4, which is Cal's episode, is when folks realize nothing has happened. This is true. Nothing really happened in this season. Nothing at all. Each episode just felt like we were going through the motions. Very, very long, drawn out plot points bring up my next point: pacing. They tried to slow it down, but they forgot to pick it back up. Which is true. Season 1 was fast. Things are happening. Things are going on. People are meeting other people. Everything. We're learning about these characters. Things are happening each episode. There's events that are happening. Pacing is faster. Okay? But this season, obviously, you extend it out in season 2. You already know these characters. We're going to learn more about them. But in doing so, you slowed it down to the point where it got to a crawl, baby. A crawl. It's too slow. Too slow. Said in slowing it down, they tried to do extensions on characters, but they fell very short. There was clear creative differences in characters between the actors and Sam Levinson. We'll get into that very soon. But that's what I want to talk about. Character extensions, character arcs. A lot of people were not rewarded one in this season. Didn't get one. We learn everything about these characters, the archetypes in season 1. We figure out who each of them are. Even if they have some nuances to them. Even if they don't fit completely within the idea of a mean girl with Maddie. Or the idea of like a girl next door with Cassie. They don't fit completely in that because they're attempting to be 3-dimensional characters. Because nobody's 100% anything. You tried to flesh him out more in season 2, but you fell very short because you got very wrapped up in this Cassie, Maddie, Nate plot. Dragged on the entire fucking season. The entirety of the season, when it was the same thing that happened again and again and again and again. Transitions into my next point. Very caught up in the Maddie, Nate, Cassie. And then there's Elliot. Who let this man on the show? I hate him. I do. I do not like this character. When I first met him, I did not like this character. I don't like this character. It's probably a bad thing that we met. Continues to do drugs. Okay. I know he's an addict. I know he's struggling. That does not mean I have to like him. I don't even really like Rue that much. I just want him to be okay. But I don't have the emotional connection with Elliot. Okay? Knowingly doing drugs with an individual who's probably using you for drugs in the first place. He's a menace to society. He was there to just fuck things up in the Jules and Rue dynamic. Why did him and Jules fuck? Why? What did it add? Not a damn thing. Not a damn thing. Why was there a romance? Why was there an attempt at some sort of throuple polyamory? Why? Nothing was there. No substance. It added nothing to the absolute grand scheme of things in the plot. Not at all. Neither does Elliot. He largely just exists within the orbit of Jules and Rue. When Rue went apeshit mode, episode 5, he got fucking scared. Because he was like, damn, that could be me. It is you, bitch. I don't like him. At all. And he knows more than he lets on. He relents to tell people specific things. And he tells other people other things. He's conniving. And I didn't like him at all, even in the slightest. Very, very annoying character. Very, very annoying. Did not like the arc. I'm not excited to see him in season 3. I don't even care what happens with him. Not excited to see him. I don't like him at all. And why the fuck was his song like 4 minutes during the fucking finale? What the fuck? What the actual fuck? Took all that time for him to sing his fucking song to Rue. When that could be a 30-second thing, be like, oh, I didn't finish. Bitch, you had fucking 3 verses and a chorus and a bridge. That's a finished song, bitch. I'm pissed. I'm pissed. But I'm going to go to my next point. There's barely any rewatchability in this season. Rewatchability, I factor that into the quality of an episode, the quality of a season. Episodes 1 and 5 in this season are very strong. Episode 1 being the New Year's party, the opener. Episode 5 being the Rue fucking just running and shit. And I like that one a lot because they switched up the style of the show, the pacing and everything. I would say those ones are arguably the most ones to rewatch. I would say episode 1 is the strongest episode this season, in my opinion. What makes me upset is that each other one, other than 1 and 5, blend together. Absolutely. Even the finale, blend all together. Cinematography is trying so hard to carry the show. Trying to make things look pretty. Beautiful shots. Trying. But the writing is shit. Your writing is shit. Your plot points are shit. And you can't hide that. Episode 1 feels like there's something going on. There's an event. Things are switching between the characters. Things are happening. Not much is happening other than that. Episode 2, boring. 3, boring. 4, Cal, boring. 5, fun. 6, boring. 7, kind of there. Kind of. Because that's the play. I would say that's probably the third, in my opinion. The play. Third. The finale, bad. Shit. Is that my next point? Yes. The finale was extremely weak. Ashtray wasn't even supposed to die, and it shows. I already talked about it. The finale was very, very weak. It's feeling very like just events being put together. No sort of cohesion, no synergy, nothing. Boring. Or it just doesn't make sense. Just doesn't make sense. Relying heavily on that budget you got for cameras and beautiful shots and making things look pretty and all your makeup and all your hair and your hot ass cast. Bitch, you have a show to write. You have a plot to say. There's people who are banking on that. Next point. I said it already. There's no events. Save for episode 7 and 8. So the pacing was off from the first season. Season 1, we had episodes 4, 6, and even 7 that featured events. Episode 4, carnival episode. Episode 6 of season 1, Halloween episode. Episode 7 is when Jules goes to that fucking, like, industrial club. And she's like, hi. And she's having those dreams about Rue and, like, Tyler. That shit that's happening. It's exciting. Things are so slow. Slow this season. Nothing occurs. There's nothing wrong with featuring episodes around events. It makes it exciting. Talk about fucking Gossip Girl. Let's talk about Gossip Girl. The original show and the new reboot, every single night there's something going on. There's events. It makes things exciting. The characters are doing things. Nobody's doing anything other than cheating on bitches, which drags on for way too long, in my opinion. Way too long. There's featured events that up the pacing of the show. They tried to slow it down by not having events, but it was too slow because when you slow things down, you're supposed to drag up the characters. You're supposed to make them more, not well-rounded. You're supposed to give them arcs, but you didn't even do that. So you slowed the pacing. You fucked up your writing. So now it's just slow and boring with your same characters from season 1 with no additives. Recipe for disaster. There's a mismatch in the characters on screen. Who is significant? It's very clear who Sam consciously or unconsciously forgot about. This is about Kat. Obviously, the effort is conscious, and you're basically writing off a lead as a minor. This is about Kat. You've alienated folks who like that lead, who resonate with them, and you lose support and watchers because it's clear that you as a director don't give a fuck about this character anymore over some bullshit you have with the person you hired. This is about Kat. How does she go from lead, clearly a lead, an entire episode about her, an entire character arc about her in the season 1, to barely any lines this entire season? She is barely there. She is a hologram. Invisible. And it's very clear. It's trauma bingo, baby. Trauma bingo. Trigger warning bingo. Episode 6. My God. Why did Nate play Russian roulette with Maddie to give her the fucking disc? Why? I hated that scene. I hated that scene so fucking much. I was so upset. Highly uncomfortable watching it. Highly uncomfortable thinking about it. That scene pissed me off. Because why did you need to do that? Obviously, it's showing how fucking sick Nate is, but you could have done it in a different manner. I hated that scene. I hated it. And like I said, I speak as a supporter of this show, okay? It's, oh God. It's hard to defend the show when the content isn't backing up the jarring visuals, you know? Season 1 could handle the balance with grace. I can admit, I can defend season 1 all fucking day, even though there's a lot of dicks and there's a lot of kind of more triggering stuff. I can defend it because the writing was good and it was showing a very profound and original storyline. Okay? Season 2 does not handle this balance. Season 2 fumbles this concept. There's too many dicks, too much nudity, Sydney Sweeney's boobs. Oh my God. Like, there's too much happening and not enough quality content. If somebody like season 2 is shit, I have to agree with you. And I'm a fan of the show, and that sucks. That fucking sucks. Here's how I'm gonna wrap it up. Obviously, a season 2 is hard, especially when the scope of the show has doubled and tripled since 2019. A lot of people have jumped on the Euphoria bandwagon, okay? A lot of people in those 3 years from 2019 to 2022, a lot of people have jumped and said, oh, let me watch Euphoria. So your viewer base is increasing, okay? Obviously, it's jumping up there. A season 2 is obviously hard, but I'm gonna put it this way. If season 2 was season 1, this was our introduction, the show would not nearly be as popular. And that's the truth. That's the truth. You have to, I'm thinking about it as its own separate entity other than season 1. Season 2 was season 1. If this was our introduction into these characters, into the writing, into the show, it would not nearly be as popular. Not nearly. And that's how you know season 2 is not as good. That's how you know. Because if I treated it as season 1, I know it would not nearly have what it has. And it's disappointing. I actually found a quote that encompasses a lot of my thoughts. And I'm going to go ahead. It's in my bookmarks on Twitter, which follow me on Twitter at JulienBadlands. This is from, their display name is Kyle, but it's at Black Boy Bulletin, BLK Boy Bulletin. Euphoria season 2 kind of sucked. Great shots, beautiful shots, some incredible acting moments from Zendaya, Sydney, Coleman, Hunter, Jacob, Storm, and Nika, obviously. Otherworldly score from Labyrinth as possible, and I'm Tired is a masterpiece. Writing was a dumpster fire, to say the least. I'm not going to drone on and on about the loss of characters and forgotten plot holes, but if Euphoria has any hope of being remotely tolerable next season / securing a viable story for future seasons, Sam needs to open up the writer's room like yesterday. Honestly, he should give up his director chair every now and then as well. Some collaboration could go a long way because for the most part, the foundation is there, which is true. The show still has something. Season 2, obviously, it's weaker, okay? It's weaker. It's a weak season in general. But you have hope to save the show if you listen to your fans. This is what I want to say. At the end of it, you got to listen to the people who are telling you that your show is not as good as it used to be. You got to listen to the people who are telling you things about the show that they don't like. Giving highlights to characters like Cal. Doing things that nobody has asked you to do before. Okay? You have to play to your audience. Sam did not. He's defiant, clearly. He doesn't want to give up his chair. Probably because he's arrogant because he's a director. But you have to at a certain point. And if Sam wants to save this show, if he wants to secure Euphoria season 4, season 5, season 6, however long he wants the fucking show to go on, if you want it to get back to the peak it was at season 1, you gotta collaborate. That's the main point. Because I'm telling you right now, a lot of people have walked away from this show and are going to because of this season. So the pressure is on during season 3 to bring it like he did during season 1. Because a lot of people have walked away. Because season 2 was so weird and strange. But that's all I got to say about Euphoria this week. We're going to get into the ending of this particular podcast, which we all know what that is. It is the triple shuffle. If y'all don't know what the triple shuffle is, if you are new here, I take every single song in my library and I shuffle it 3 times and send 3 songs for you guys to recommend. These are my recommendations. This week, my first song is, it is Woo by Rihanna from her last album, And Time. This song grew on me a lot. I first heard it and I was like, this is fucking weird. But it's really good. So, Woo by Rihanna. My second song for the triple shuffle is Booty by Erykah Badu. This is from her second album, Mama's Gun. This song is very, 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 very good. Very good, very good. And then my last song for the triple shuffle is Umbrella by Rihanna featuring Jay-Z. So I guess I got a lot of Rihanna this week. So that is Woo by Rihanna, Booty by Erykah Badu, and Umbrella by Rihanna featuring Jay-Z, which is off of Good Girl Gone Bad. And that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is the podcast this week. We're going to do a little quick plug one more time. Be sure to support the rest of my content. Watch the other podcasts. Watch my new role play because I'm venturing out. I'm making more content on this channel, and I would love to have more support, more baddies, more people to watch. Be sure if you like this podcast, leave a like, leave a comment, share, subscribe to the channel to be part of the Baddies, JBA Nation, JulienBadlandsAudios. If you're very excited about that, I'm gonna go ahead and get out of here. But you guys have an excellent day, and I will see you next fucking week.